Hello everybody, this is Crypto BitLaw back with another blockchain legal brief for you. And today we're going to cover Canada and their move to cut off protesters' access to crypto funds. But before we dive in, if you enjoy this content, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @CryptoBitLaw. And let us know what you think in the comments down below, or if you have any ideas for topics you'd like to cover. All right, as we can see here, Decrypt reports that Canada authorizes emergency rules to cut off protesters' access to funds, including crypto. Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, invoked the 1988 Emergencies Act in an attempt to cut off protesters' access to funds, including cryptocurrencies. And this is response to the Freedom Convoy that I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, where these Canadian truckers are, pretty much establishing all of these trucking blockades throughout Canada, particularly on the borders, in order to, voice their grievances with a lot of the vaccine mandates and just general, pandemic-related rules and regulations. They say the Canadian government today, for the first time, invoked the Emergencies Act in a bid to restrict the flow of funds to truck drivers protesting the country's which shall not be named restrictions. Under the Act, the government can freeze bank accounts without going through the court system, as well as take a number of other actions to force an end to the demonstrations. Quote, "We are broadening the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and anti-terrorist financial rules so they can cover crowdfunding platforms and the payment providers they use," Canada Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland said during a press conference today. Freeland, who also serves as finance minister, added these actions would also cover cryptocurrencies. The move comes after weeks of protests by a group of truck drivers dubbed the Freedom Convoy, which has taken to blocking roadways, flouting mask rules, and honking their horns to voice their displeasure with mandates. We can't say that word either. The group's GoFundMe account was shut down by the platform on February 4th after pressure from the Canadian government, at which point it turned to alternative funding methods, including Bitcoin. Though Emergencies Act measures take immediate effect, the government of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has 1 week to receive support from both Canada's legislative bodies, the House of Commons and Senate. While the government is name-checking cryptocurrency and has some leverage to freeze bank accounts connected to crypto firms and users, to Bitcoin proponents, this is nonetheless an argument for the asset, which is harder to shut down because it does not run on a centralized network controlled by a traditional payment provider. And as we see here in a little bit, we're going to play this little video clip of this Deputy Prime Minister, kind of going off and giving her announcement about the restriction of payments, including crypto. And this was actually tweeted by Nayib Bukele. He's the president of El Salvador, who recently pushed for El Salvador to turn Bitcoin into legal tender in the country. We could see, he says here, "Are these the people who like to give lessons to other countries about democracy and freedom? This is one of the top-ranking countries in the, quote, democracy index. Your credibility on these topics is now worth zero." And, I mean, this can't be any more true. I mean, Nayib is just coming out with the cold, hard facts and just spelling it out, just pure freaking truth. And, I mean, this is, it's almost hard to believe, we've gotten to this point. You've got governments that are labeling these protesters that are protesting for individual rights and freedoms, labeling them terrorists, money launderers, that sort of thing, and then trying to use traditional institutions, TradFi, to block their ability to get funds and fund themselves. And if this isn't an argument for decentralized payments and decentralized forms of cryptocurrencies or digital assets, then I don't know what is. So, like they said earlier, I mean, this should be one of the primary arguments for Bitcoin and for other digital assets. The main problem here, the rub, a lot of it has to go back to on and off ramps. It's one thing to have Bitcoin. It's another thing to be able to actually purchase it with fiat dollars, or once you have the Bitcoin, to convert it back to fiat dollars so that you could use it to pay for things like gasoline, food, basic necessities, or whatnot. Because due to the fact that these major TradFi institutions are controlled by the government via these restrictions, it makes it impracticable to actually turn that Bitcoin into fiat dollars or fiat currency, whatever form that may take. And if you can't actually get it off because you're blocked and you're labeled as some sort of terrorist or, money launderer, then you're going to have a harder time actually converting it back. And I think a lot of this goes back to, what the great John McAfee said, that what really needs to happen is that people need to embrace the actual exchange of these digital assets in their pure form. If more people were just to take Bitcoin as payment rather than having to deal in fiat, then that would eliminate the need for having to go through the traditional TradFi systems or interact with fiat altogether. And then you could avoid being steamrolled or just, taken advantage of by this system. So let's take a look at this little video right quick. We'll see what they have to say, what this lady has to say.
Immediate actions. First, we are broadening the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use. These changes cover all forms of transactions, including digital assets, such as cryptocurrencies.
Well, there you go, right from the horse's mouth itself. Nay. So, yep, it is what it is. But yeah, I just thought that this was interesting. Can't say that I'm a fan of any of this. If this isn't an argument for digital assets and blockchain technology, I don't know what is. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please hit the like button. Please also subscribe. We really appreciate that. And we'll see you guys in the next video.